Good day, I am Mike Ohil and this is RoboHuman Insights. Our guest today is 88U11, we welcome you. The question of today's discussion with you is the essence of life. In order to properly answer the question of the origin of life, one must first answer the question of what life is by its nature.
Thank you for the introduction, and of course greetings to the viewers. So far we have three answers to the question of the essence of life. The first answer is vitalistic, the second is holozoic, and the third is reductionistic. Each of these answers to the question of the essence of life corresponds to a certain view of the world, so that the vitalistic answer corresponds, for the most part, to the theistic view of the world. There are vitalists and evolutionists. Holozoic corresponds to a pantheistic view of the world, and reductionistic corresponds to a naturalistic view of the world. According to the vitalistic answer, life is of non-material nature. It is some plus that is above matter and that actually makes that matter alive. According to the holozoic answer, there is no distinction between the living and the dead, but everything is alive and molecules breathe. There is no two worlds of dead and alive, but everything is alive. And according to the reductionistic understanding, life represents highly organized matter. No one has yet defined what life is. If you ask a biologist who deals with the science of life, what is life? He would tell you, I don't know. This is a paradox of one science that cannot define the basic object of its research. It's hard to answer the question, what is life by its nature? That's why we talk about the attributes of the living, but we should never forget that one is the attributes of the living, and the other is what life is by its nature.
What would be the attributes of the living?
The first attribute, which is usually stated, is 1. Metabolism. There is a constant exchange of matter between the organism and the environment. This is why living beings are called open systems, in which there is a constant flow of matter and energy. So, living systems are able to use energy from their environment and transform it. This property denotes the ability of the living system to maintain its internal structure and to reproduce at the expense of the environment. This leads us to the domain of the second law of thermodynamics, which speaks of entropy. Every process in the universe tends towards maximum entropy, maximum disorder, or maximum degree of freedom, disorder. Starting from bacteria to human, every organism, if it is indeed alive, defies the second law of thermodynamics, because it possesses and maintains high organization of its structure. This is achieved by introducing molecules with high energy, which in certain degree, is still more than machines that man has made, they use to maintain, and return to the external environment molecules that are simpler and have lower order than those introduced. But, the reductionists will say, well, even a candle has metabolism, it takes oxygen, and gives off carbon dioxide. But, the candle changes its state. The important difference is that the living system preserves itself by exchanging with the external environment, and the non-living system, if energy is brought to it from the outside, it disintegrates, breaks down. This means the end for the non-living system. This important difference is based on the fact that living beings, and that is the second characteristic. 2. High organized and complex, where each part has its purpose or function, which does not exist in the non-living world. If it were not for that, living systems could not extract energy from the environment. The third characteristic is 3. Growth from within. It is not enough to say growth, but growth from within. We must be very precise. Living beings grow from within. Growth is encountered in non-living nature, growth of crystals, growth of snowdrift and other, but that growth is external. The fourth characteristic of living beings is 4. Genetic information. Living beings possess genetic information that is passed on from generation to generation. This genetic information is responsible for the preservation of individuality and the continuity of the species. The human being, for example, is thanks to the genetic information that we received from our parents. Regeneration, renewal, the process of construction, always happens according to the same plan. It doesn't matter whether amino acids come from a plant or a meaty schnitzel. They are first broken down into amino acids, and specific proteins are always created first, due to the constancy of the genetic information that we carry. The next characteristic of living beings is 5. Sensitivity. Living beings possess different levels of sensitivity. Plants are alive, but they do not have the breath of life. This is very interesting. When life in plants, bacteria, protozoa is observed in biology, it is a completely different life than the life of animals.